www.radiolemans.com and click the Forum tab. Join in and give your passion for motorsport a new dimension. The radiolemans.com Forum, just like you. For a full archive of podcasts from Radio Show Limited, race coverage, midweek motorsport, car tests, special programs, and more, go to www.radiolemans.com. Stay up to date and interact by following Radio Le Mans on Twitter @Radio Le Mans.
We're live here at Silverstone for round 5 of the FIA Formula 3 European Championship in what promises to be some changeable conditions in the next 35 minutes. So race 2 of the weekend, we've already seen a win for Harry Tincknell, who had a ding-dong scrap with Alex Lynn throughout the 35 minutes of the first race of the weekend. And we'll run you through the grid, how it lines up for this race in just a second. This grid, incidentally, determined by second fastest qualifying times in the first qualifying session yesterday. There'll be a race tomorrow morning as well. And the grid for that race determined by the second session we witnessed yesterday. That actually sees Alex Lynn on pole position for race 3, but he's going to have to do it from 4th position, is the man from Great Dunmow in this race for Prema Powerteam. It's a second sequential pole position for Harry Tincknell for Carlin Motorsport, and he will start with his time of 1 minute 54.129 on the inside of row 1, the grippier side. And Alex Lynn certainly said after the earlier race that was a tricky place for him to start offline on the second position. All the Prema Powerteam cars, well, 3 of 4, had to start from grid spots 2, 4 and 6, so the slightly less grippier side. Felix Rosenqvist, who finished 3rd in the earlier race today, will start from 2nd in race 2 of the weekend and round 5 of the championship. The gap half a second actually on second fastest times. Harry Tincknell and Felix Rosenqvist starting from the front row, cars 3 and 6. And we will run down the rest of the grid in just a moment. So Raffaele Marciello with a second chance of a decent finish. He, in a way, dropped down the order after a good scrap between Lucas Auer and Will Buller a little earlier on. But Raffaele will start from a place better off in race 2, from 3rd position in car number 1, alongside his teammate Alex Lynn in car 2. So the two Prema Powerteam cars locking out the second row. The third row, cars 26 and 25, that'll be Nicholas Latifi and Eddie Cheever for Carlin Motorsport and Prema Powerteam respectively. And then it'll be on the 4th row, Lucas Auer and Will Buller, the first of the Nissan engine cars. Let's update you on how the points look after the 4th round of the championship. Raffaele Marciello still leads on 63.5 points. It was half points awarded after race 2 at Monza because they didn't quite get to the 75% race distance, so awarded half points at the end of race 2. Marciello leads then by a shade under, what's the gap there? A bit of mental arithmetic. 14.5 points back to Pascal Wehrlein and Harry Tincknell. And they are tied in second position now. Tincknell's points for a race win earlier on have put him joint second with Pascal Wehrlein, who of course isn't taking part in any further races in this championship, moving to DTM. So effectively it's Tincknell on his own in second place. Alex Lynn in 4th spot on 37.5 points. 5th place in the championship, Lucas Auer coming into this race on 36 points, so just a point and a half behind Alex Lynn. Felix Rosenqvist 6th in the championship on 27 points. 7th in the championship, Will Buller on 21. 8th, Felix Arias on 18. 9th, Tom Blomqvist on 16.5. And 10th, Nick Latifi on 10 points. And the cars are making their way to the grid now, what is already a very busy grid, and we'll run you through the rest of the order in just a few moments. But Tincknell will know how to deal with this race. He managed the gap back to Alex Lynn supremely well throughout the first 35 minutes. So we're here in Silverstone in the centre of England in Northamptonshire for round 5 of the FIA Formula 3 European Championship. We've already seen a win today for Harry Tincknell for Carlin Motorsport, second place for Alex Lynn and third place for Felix Rosenqvist. It is those main players that will start from the front 2 rows. It's Johnny Palmer and Andrew Marriott here in the box. Andrew.
Yeah, thanks very much. Interesting situation here with the tyre management. They only have a certain number of sets for the race weekend. They're only got one decent set left now. Most of the guys will be saving that set for Sunday's race, and we have possibly people now that are split a set because there was some very bad graining going on in that previous race, particularly the front runners grained both the front and rear left. So they might have swapped sides with the better tyres and then put a pair of new ones. There's different ways of doing this, different tyre management strategies for the team, so we'll have to see what actually happens here. But it does make a big difference. Other big question mark, Johnny, of course, is the weather. I was just outside in the paddock a few moments ago, and it was raining. Now it's stopped as we look and have pictures of the grid here at Silverstone as they line up. And a memorable victory this morning for Harry Tincknell. I'm old enough to remember this. You weren't born, but the last time that a British driver won an FIA Formula 3 Championship race was in 1984, and it was Johnny Dumfries. And his team manager, Dave Price, we saw him in the box at the end of that previous race. He probably didn't remember that, but there are historians that leaf through the books. And so it's been a long time since we've had a British winner in a full FIA Formula 3 European Championship. Obviously, this championship was redundant for a number of years. Shots here on the grid. We're just looking at the tyres, Johnny. Just give us an indication of what people are going to run. But you look out for the stickers. You should see quite a lot of people with fresh tyres on one side. Now, there's a tyre that's obviously been in a race before. Oh, no, maybe not. No, it hasn't. No, it hasn't. You just see the little paint marks on it. So the other interesting thing I think in this race is the fact that Eddie Cheever Jr. was way up the grid this time, because this is based on
second fastest times.
Yep. He obviously had one very good lap, and so that moves him up the grid. There is the number 27 car there of
Jan Mardenborough.
Yeah.
It's interesting, there are slick tyres on cars, but there are wets right by each of those tyres. So they're going to make the decision at the very last possible moment. Yeah. So, talked to Harry after the race. It was obviously pumped up. It's his biggest win of his career, of course. So he took a lot of pressure there. He said that he reckoned he was running a different aero setup to Alex Lynn, who he battled with. Obviously, one Carlin, one Prema. They were on different aero setups, and so they were faster in different. One guy was faster in one part of the circuit, and Harry reckoned he was very good in the fast corners, not so good in the slow corners, which is where he felt that Lynn was making a little bit of time on him. So I think the part of the track that Alex Lynn really enjoys is coming out of Luffield through Woodcote, and then that's one long slingshot through Cox Corner and up then to Maggots and Beckett's, and he really favours that bit. That was the area that he was catching up on, Harry Tincknell. But in the end, the tyres just cried enough, really, and he had to drop away. Alex Lynn fancied getting the fastest lap in the dying stages. That's the reason why he started to up the pace a little bit, just to get the extra point. But didn't quite manage it. I don't think it was Lucas Auer in the end getting the fastest lap.
Lucas Auer. He had a great second half of the race hour, didn't he? Got game charging through. Can overtake in Formula 3. That Tincknell, I am a number one. A man from Devon. And just a few minutes away from the start of this race, the revised FIA Formula 3 Championship. It was a mess last year, to be honest. They had two parallel championships, the F3 Euro Series and this championship, and some had common rounds, and there were other races that were only in one, and they all came together with the British at Norris Ring, and frankly it was very, very confusing. Now everything's all consolidated together, all the best guys in Formula 3, all in the same race, and that's the way it used to be in years gone by, of course. Felix Rosenqvist then, hugely experienced now in Formula 3 and single-seater racing. The thumbs-up Swede there. We've still got backing from a company that designs shopping centres in Sweden. That's what's on his crash helmet there. is Raffaele Marciello carrying the number 1 plate, because Prema were the champions of this championship last year with Danny Juncadella, who's moved on to the DTM, as has Pascal Wehrlein. In fact, most of the recent F3 champions have moved into the DTM. The Roberto Merri, of course, the year before. Team UK on the side of the car, backing from the MSA and the BRDC for Alex Lynn.
Struggling with a bit of a sore throat this weekend. He's got a slight bit of a cold. I asked him earlier on, does that affect you when you get in the car? He says not at all.
The adrenaline pumps, doesn't it?
Yeah, you totally forget that you're ill, and then all of a sudden you feel the sore throat when you step out of the car in Parc Fermé.
Yeah.
There's Nicholas Latifi, who has had a great performance in qualifying.
He's the big surprise, the Canadian.
Didn't really have an answer to Lucas Auer's pace, but finished 5th, I think, earlier on.
But for a guy that's only in his 2nd season of racing, this level, fantastic job. There he is. The helmet is almost exactly the same as his father's, the former Indy 500 winner. I did look up the statistic for Cheever's dad and how many Grand Prix, I think 137 Grand Prix he actually started in, with many different teams. Never actually won a race, of course, but came close, but did win the Indy 500. And again, the colours of the Prema Powerteam, Lucas Auer. And here's Gerhard Berger down there with some words. Can't see him. Oh, Johnny's leafing through the bit of Wikipedia here.
Yeah, I have some information on Eddie Cheever.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Well, he won this 98 Indy 500.
There you go.
And 132 starts it was. But I said in the earlier broadcast, Johnny, I remember coming here and seeing Eddie Cheever as a 19-year-old racing at Silverstone in a Formula 3 race. History repeats itself.
Yes, absolutely. It's all cyclical,
Mans,
I suppose.
Greg Hagen with the Dutch Van Amersfoort Racing, whose old boys include the likes of Jos Verstappen and Christian Albers, and many of the top Dutch drivers have been with that squad. And here's one you know well.
Yeah, Luis Pipo Derani.
Where's the Pipo come from, do you know?
I don't know why he's called that.
Some sort of nickname, isn't it?
Yeah.
We must ask him, actually.
It's like Richard Goddard being better known as Spike.
Yeah, well, I checked that one out. Apparently that was his granddad's fault when he was still a baby. He had spiky hair.
Ah, OK. And it's stuck ever since. There's Jordan King.
Yeah. Well, his dad's the big boss of Sainsbury's, isn't he? And,
actually, Jordan improved on his grid position in the early stages of the race, but then the race pace dropped away, finished 11th.
Yeah, did a nice job.
Pipo's short for Felipe Derani.
So
there you go.
Well done. Excellent. So here they are. A few people, maybe that was Richard Dutton I just saw there running. He said
quite possibly.
Our problem was that we just didn't qualify well, then it's really hurting us here.
Let's hope that the RR racing cars managed to get through the first corner without touching each other.
Sven Muller, they're sponsored by Speed Academy. That's a sponsorship scheme for up-and-coming German drivers from the German Post Office, which is not state-owned, unlike ours. It's owned by DHL, I believe. Tom Blomqvist here with the Red Bull backing, one of the 6 Red Bull junior drivers that probably have to send a report back to Helmut Marko at the end of the day. And Tom Blomqvist with this team that are new in Formula 3, hugely experienced in other forms of racing. They had a base in Indianapolis. They raced in Indy Lights successfully and raced in the Indy 500 and other Champ Car and IndyCar races. But Antonio Ferrari's team have come back here to race in Europe. There's the 18 car. You see the VW badge on the side. Remember, 3 engines. Dennis van der Laar.
Didn't get off the line in race 1.
I'm not sure it was him, actually.
Oh, okay,
Having
really?
checked in the paddock, no, it wasn't him. But it was very difficult to recognise. So 2 brilliant talents like us, and we couldn't work
We've
it out,
still missed it, yeah. We've gone through virtually the whole field.
Antonio Giovinazzi. And the 17 car there. And carrying the same sponsorship as his teammate. And that sponsorship is mainly Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Is that right?
And Pepsi Cola. There's Josh Hill. Got involved in I'm not quite sure what that little hand signal was. Got involved in a bit of a scrummage in the race, which damaged the under tray. so that's why he came in.
Yeah, there were bits falling off it as the car ran wide at Beckett's in race 1, but so all that will have been prepared and repaired, rather.
Oh, absolutely. It's been quite a quick turnaround for these teams. Normally, when this moves into the DTM, they'll have 4 or 5 hours between the two races, and here they've just a couple.
And is it the usual format to have a single race on Saturday and then 2 on Sunday?
No, they changed the format, Johnny. Last year, they... because most of them were Euro Series races rather than FIA races. Sometimes they were both. The afternoon race was shorter. It was half the distance, and it was a reverse grid race, and did not count for FIA points, only counted for Euro Series points at a different tariff as well. Michael Lewis here, the tall American, who started his racing on short ovals down in the United States, in California. He was raced as a teenager in little cars they call quarter midgets, so he should have lots of car control. Bitch Gilbert then, coming out of the ATS German Formula 3 Championship, again with another Mücke Motorsport car, Mücke based in Berlin. I think it's the only major racing team based in Berlin. Nice shot of the Silverstone wing here. Look up at the ashen skies. It might still... that's Sean Gallel, who... his dad presumably imports all the Kentucky Fried Chicken into South America.
One of the other cars involved in that first corner incident.
Yeah, well, I think we maybe were pointing the fickle finger of fate at him, actually, for causing that.
Okay.
Yeah. So their personnel off the grid.
Quite possibly a stern word from the team to Sean.
The guy's 16, you know.
Yeah, Still learning the ropes. I think you've got to be given the margin to make errors here and there.
He's been competing for a long time, that kid. When he was 14, and of course we were allowed things like that in Indonesia, he was rallying. In fact, he was pretty quick in rallying. I was looking through the internet about him, and he was hailed as a sort of next WRC star when he was 14 years old. Anyway, let's go off on the warm-up lap, or sighting lap, as they call it in motorbike racing. I think it's quite a good word, because you can have a good look, because where the puddles are, that's absolutely key, just to see the track conditions here, which has been so changeable this very busy racing weekend. Not only the 3 Formula 3 races this weekend, but we've also got the first round of the European Le Mans Series, and of course we've got the first big battle of the season between Toyota and Audi in the WRC, which has had qualifying for that, Johnny, and that was pretty exciting.
Very exciting. New format for it for 2013, but it promises to be a really close race tomorrow.
Take us through the starting order here.
Harry Tincknell then taking his second pole position of the weekend. He'll start alongside Felix Rosenqvist. Cars 3 and 6 on the front row. Cars 1 and 2 on the second row. That's Raffaele Marciello and Alex Lynn, both for Prema Powerteam. And on the third row, cars 26 and 25, Nicholas Latifi and Eddie Cheever. Already seen the second page of the grid on the screen. Lucas Auer and William Buller will start inside and outside of front of fourth row. That's cars 24 and 14. Mans Grenhagen, the Swede, alongside Pipo Derani, cars 19 and 12 for Van Amersfoort Racing and Fortec Motorsport, respectively. Onto the 11th row, Jordan King starts on the inside with Sven Muller, his outside cars 4 and 7 on the 6th row. And on the 7th row, Tom Blomqvist and Dennis van der Laar. The 8th row, Antonio Giovinazzi, hoping for a better start in this one, and Josh Hill with his under tray repaired. 9th row, Felix Arias and the new boy Michael Lewis taking that car over from Pascal Wehrlein. The 10th row, Mitchell Gilbert and Sean Gallile. That's cars 28 and 32 on the 10th row. The 11th row, Jan Mardenborough and Lucas Wolf. It'll be interesting to see Jan and whether he can make some advances up the field from the 11th row there alongside Lucas Wolf. The 12th row, Spike Goddard and Tatiana Calderon, the only lady driver here this weekend, because Michaela Ceruti is racing elsewhere. 13th row, Roy Nissany, the Israeli driver, alongside the Swiss Sandro Zeller in the family-run car. And the 14th and final row, Andre Rudersdorf alongside Gary Thompson on the Japanese licence, but the man very much a Dubliner.
Yep, Gaza, I think he calls himself. Here they are. Just getting some temperature into those Hankooks around this circuit they call the home of British motor racing. Silverstone, the old former World War II base. Nicely manicured for this big race meeting, the first big race meeting of the year here. And some people are putting a lot of steering lock in there to try and get some heat into these tyres.
Yep, seesawing at the wheel, left and right to get heat into the front and rear tyres. And this is a chance, as you say, for all the drivers to work out where the wet patches are, because there has been some rain in recent times.
They can catch you out. So, average age of this field, I think it's about 20 years old. The oldest competitor in this championship is the girl that is not with us this weekend.
Michaela.
I think she's 25.
Okay.
That's old in Formula 3 terms. So, lining up then 28 cars. And the Double R team obviously having a lot of work to do to repair the damage they had, but they've got it all done.
Yeah, full marks for them.
Yeah.
There's a real grippy side to the grid here at Silverstone, and then not so grippy. And Alex Lynn, it's his turn to start from there. And in fact, he's got that side of the grid for this race as well. Starts from 4th behind Rosenqvist.
Yep.
So the green flag will be waved at the back, which it is indeed now.
And they're getting ready to rev it up to about 6,000. And, they're holding him a long time. And off they go.
Oh, contact further back, another stall.
Oh, yeah.
That was one of the Fortec cars affected, but Rosenqvist has got the jump on Harry Tincknell, and Rosenqvist leads into the first corner then. Cars on the grass there, left and right. Everyone's just about got through, but it's a fight on the lead.
They touched.
That's Lynn.
Alex Lynn's gone round.
Alex Lynn, 3 abreast. It just was not going to work up towards the right-hander at Village, and he ran out of road. Tincknell is down to 3rd position now with Rosenqvist the leader. Raffaele Marciello has got a blistering start from the outside, from the inside of row 2. He's up to 2nd place, but there are cars littering the start and finish line.
Certainly are.
And that's Pippo Durrani, whose left rear wheel has gone.
Mardenborough, I think, was in that, wasn't he? Do I see the 27? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
I did.
Mardenborough, Pippo Durrani, and that man Giovinazzi does not get away from the line again, I'm afraid.
I wonder if we're just going to have a local yellow here. If we were in America, there will be a full-course yellow. No
without question.
Doubt about, but
Tom Blomqvist duking it out with Josh Hill there.
Yeah, Josh Hill already getting stuck in.
And a move being made
close
further
to the
back.
wall.
Move being made further back from one of the Mücke Motorsport cars.
Yep.
That was, I think, Felix Rosenqvist getting overtaken.
But yellow flag's waving. I'm pretty sure the safety car will be out there.
The safety car is deployed on our screen.
Just explain that this is a timed race, so we won't. It's not a number of laps. It is a time race, so this will just have the clock ticking away here. SC safety car. But Rosenqvist making a good start.
So that was all started
up there,
by, I think, Antonio Giovinazzi not getting away from the line, stalling in the middle of the field, and unfortunately, unlike the earlier race, people behind weren't able to react in time, and Pippo Durrani, his left rear wheel just torn off the car there because of the stationary vehicle.
And then he speared round, didn't he?
Yeah, and Jan Mardenborough actually a head-on there.
So unlucky.
With Durrani. Jan Mardenborough avoided the initial incident, but then was presented with Durrani's car, three wheels on his wagon.
Coming at him directly.
Hang on a minute, cars should not be travelling in this direction. Especially at the start of the race, and Giovinazzi, the cause of it all, but he didn't even get away from the line.
Double R team are having a torrid weekend, aren't they?
Raffaele Marciello almost got the lead there on the first run through Village and the Loop. Of course, unbeknownst to them, all that was kicking off behind them.
And then we had the Lynn situation, just seeing the aftermath of that.
Well, that's someone else going wide.
Was that someone else going wide?
From Prema Powerteam down at the left-hander at Brooklands.
I'd like to see the Lynn. I'm sure he hit somebody. I saw the car buck up, but I think it was just front wheel to rear wheel.
That was a case, for me, of too many cars in the same area, three abreast, and he ran out of road, clipped, as you say, the curb and the grass, and that spun him round back across the track, and thankfully he wasn't collected by anybody else. I'm not sure whether the two car has rejoined and maybe still running down in 20th position, because I don't think Alex Lynn actually hit anything. He may have damage after that leap across the curbing.
So, at the moment, while we get the cranes to work, the JCBs go to work. Of course, they've been good backers of motor racing in the past. Anthony Bamford in historic racing. The cars are pushed out of the way, and the order at the moment is Rosenqvist, Tincknell, Buller in 3rd place, Grenhagen right up to 4th, Latifi 5th, then Sven Muller, Blomqvist, Hill is up in 8th, Marciello is down in 9th, and then King, Auer, Durrani, Lewis, Van der Laar, Wolf, Cheever, Galil, Goddard, Gilbert, and Lynn is down in 20th place.
So
he's got work to do.
The safety car is out, and the convoy will run through the pit lane. That's because of so much carbon fibre shards and suspension bits being out, and the risk of a puncture if you run over those. So the safety car should actually lead the cars through the pit lane instead. Good view from the back of the safety car.
Yeah, going past the old pits.
That's right.
Not many circuits got 2 lots of pit roads and paddocks. Spa's the other one that immediately comes to mind. So Rosenqvist will lead the pack round as the yellow flags still wave as they sort this out. Clock continues to tick. We'll make it a much shorter sort of sprint style race once they've got this all back underway.
On the screen it now says minus 17 laps. Does that mean the race will be dictated? Well, it's whichever.
No, it will definitely be on the time. There's 30 minutes left. But had a few timing issues, I believe, this weekend with the computers, I've heard. Particularly in the WEC race there were some issues, but no, I'm not sure what that means.
Okay.
Unless it's a prediction of how many
laps we may well reach.
Yeah.
Earlier on, I think we managed to get to a 19-lap race. But
lots of running around and
Snatch vehicles still working overtime. 2 of the cars got rid of now, so just Jan Mardenborough's Dallara to be moved.
He'll be hugely disappointed, won't he? He's going to have to go to Hockenheim. He's got tomorrow's race, of course, to still make up. Maybe
so here comes the train into the pit lane, which looks a bit strange, but everyone in pit lane, maybe working on cars, will need to be wary that there are about to be an awful lot of Formula 3 cars thundering through.
Yep. So, as we said before, all these cars are the latest Dallara chassis, produced there in northern Italy by Gianpaolo Dallara's company.
And this is not a one-make formula, as it were.
Nope.
You can use another chassis, should you choose. But
back in the day, believe it or not, again before you were born, I ran a factory Formula 3 team for March Engineering. And we had opposition from Lotus and Brabham, and there's lots of factory cars. And everybody sort of battling for the sales of the cars, of course. And in those days, the pool of Formula 3 cars would probably be 100. Altogether, people racing them in different series around Europe, and so there was a lot of sales to be had. Dallara came in the late 80s, I suppose it was, and did such a good job on these cars that nobody has been able to equal them. Occasionally people come and try. The Dome organisation in Japan, Lola had a bit of a go at one stage. Miguel in France tried, but they've just got this to a T. You know, they just make these cars so well. I've been to Dallaras. They've got a great wind tunnel. They've got a 7-post rig, and all the top stuff that, of course, also produces Indy cars. Teams are also allowed to, unlike the GP3, they're also allowed to do their own modifications to the aero package. You will see occasionally, a couple of years ago with the old 308, which was the previous model, people did all sorts of different things with mirrors and barge boards. But having a look around the paddock yesterday, and it seems pretty well everybody's on the standard Dallara spec. Because Dallara probably got a better wind tunnel than the likes of Carlin, So, but you can do different things. Ride height's very important with these cars. You've got to get the ride, just like Indy 500. You've got to have the ride height absolutely spot on. There's a Audi A5 leading the pack, or maybe it's an RS5.
I would think so.
Yes.
Yeah, one of the high-performance models.
Yep.
And this is the old paddock and the old national pits, as it's called now, that they're weaving their way by. I would imagine, get a good view of the start line right in front of the commentary box. Everything's been cleared up now. Marshals have done their sweeping as well.
Safety car in this lap.
I was just about to say that.
Yep. Rosenqvist then will lead them away, try and get a good start. And he does have the advantage, of course, because he goes first. And then see what Tincknell can do. Nice to have Will Buller right up there. Interesting to see what happens with Grenhagen up there in 4th place, and that has not been his pace. His pace would indicate that he would be running in sort of mid-pack, and there he is right at the front. So it'll be interesting to see what he does. Did you see his accident, Johnny, at Monza?
I did.
Violent, wasn't it? It was a big accident. The audio that came with that crash as well was astounding.
There was a fixed camera point that was sort of facing the direction of traffic, and all of a sudden you're presented with 3 Formula 3 cars, all at various angles, and Grenhagen going over and over and over. It was a scary barrel roll, but thankfully he was able to walk away from that accident.
And yet again, it shows you just how safe these cars are these days.
Yeah. So, Felix Rosenqvist choosing to back the field up quite significantly here. There is nothing between these cars as they head into Stowe, the right-hander, and the safety car has gone. It's disappeared into pit lane, and Rosenqvist, I think possibly, no, it's still waving around left and right. I thought he might have made a gun for it then. It's all on him now. And there's an overtaking even before we got to the line. That's surely not allowed.
No, that's not allowed. Well, now we've got more contact. Oh, that was silly, wasn't it?
Nicholas Latifi goes round. That's the Canadian who no doubt has suffered suspension damage, and there's been a change of order already because Harry Tincknell is ahead. Now, whether he just thought that Felix Rosenqvist was going far too slowly.
Now, we're really going to have to watch our timing screen now because I can see them penalising him for that.
So Tincknell it is who leads on the road, as it were. 0.6 of a second ahead of Will Buller, but Felix Rosenqvist, who effectively became the safety car and everyone should have kept behind them, is down in 3rd position. The 2 Prema Powerteam cars, Prema Powerteam cars are side by side. That's Marciello and Lucas Auer, as the leaders come down Wellington Straight for this, the 4th time. Of course, the laps behind the safety car do count to the race distance.
Yeah, we got just under 25 minutes remaining of this race.
But the leading duo in a slightly false position, I would suggest, with Tincknell and Buller out in front. Rosenqvist is running 3rd. Then it's Tom Blomqvist up to 4th position. Now, where did Tom start? Down in 13th place, and he's running 4th on the road. Move being made further back down the order, and that's one of the orange Mücke Motorsport cars trying to overtake Felix Sorayas. Doesn't quite work for him.
Grenhagen, of course, and Latifi out of the action now. Alex Lynn is now 17th. Just have a look at some splits. Well, fastest first sector of the whole race thus far by Josh Hill. Oh, he's got a bit of pace in that car now. See if he can keep that up.
And the toe being used here by Raffaele Marciello, who was right underneath Josh King's gearbox there, Jordan King's gearbox rather, and makes the move stick. Snatch vehicle in attendance to retrieve those 2 cars. Latifi was one of them, and the other one could well have been Muller, was it? We'll find out when the cars come through to complete this lap to fully identify those 2 cars. But 1.1 seconds the gap now from Harry Tincknell and Will Buller. Felix Rosenqvist down there in 3rd position after that crazy restart.
Yeah, we've got Quists in 3rd and 4th place here.
And that's Alex Lynn gaining a position on one of the RR Racing cars. So where was Lynn behind? Sean Galisle.
I think we should really watch Lynn now. I think he's going to be a fast mover up the field.
He's up to 14th position. Eddie Cheever, the next car on his radar.
Yep.
It was Sven Muller, the other car involved at that restart. Here it is then, and the 2 cars already passed Rosenqvist, and then there's contact between the 7 car of Muller and the 26 car of Latifi, both too badly damaged to continue. But it was all kind of kicking off.
Big confusion, wasn't it? Yeah,
absolutely. And that was mainly caused by Rosenqvist backing the whole field up, and there was just no room then for the middle order to kind of trundle their way through. And
maybe they thought, the pace car is gone. That's it. We're racing, and he's got a problem. I'd argue that maybe he couldn't find a gear or something. So no information on the screen whether there's a penalty, but
not yet.
They might get away with that. We'll see. Tincknell then trying to go for the double here on a Silverstone Saturday. There's Blomqvist in the Red Bull car with Hill, pressed with Hill. So much pressure on him, with all that history of his family in motor racing. Not easy for the young man.
But I think his dad will offer him some good advice, just to take your time and obviously respect the archives. But it'll take you a little while to adjust, I suppose, to slicks and wings. He's done Formula Ford racing in the past, but he's getting better and better with Formula 3. And Tom Blomqvist,
he did Renault NEC last year, so he's used to slicks and wings. But
these are 2 famous sons, Tom Blomqvist and Josh Hill, together.
Yeah.
Raffaele Marciello tucked in behind there in 6th position.
Damien used to come to quite a lot of the Formula Ford races. I saw him. But because he's a TV pundit these days. So he's out there in China this weekend. I thought that Mother Georgie was coming to support Josh. I haven't seen her yet. Probably tucked away in the BRDC suite somewhere.
Not sure whether Josh Hill ran wide there, because Marciello came through at the end of that lap in 5th position and has set the best time of anybody, the Italian now, in car number 1, up to 5th and behind Blomqvist. And that is Will Buller now in 2nd position, 0.8 of a second away from Harry Tincknell, who is on course for a double victory for 2 races.
Car number 7 under investigation.
That's Sven Muller. So
now that's to do with an incident
right behind.
That's right.
The overtaking, as it were, because Sven Muller charging into Vale Corner and basically took out Nicholas Latifi.
Yeah.
So we'll see what the stewards say about that.
I'm pretty sure he's going to get a penalty for that.
There's Jordan King, who's tucked in behind Josh Hill. So 7th position for Jordan. Lucas Auer. Now, what sort of times is he putting in?
55.244 was his last lap. 54.8 being the quickest time. Buller's having a good race, isn't he? With that Nissan engine car, not really highly fancied, and one of the smaller teams in T-Sport, but doing an excellent job. Last year, backed by Volkswagen and racing with Carlin. So, in a way, it's a bit of a step down for him, but certainly making the best of this opportunity here. His dad, the owner of the Rockingham race circuit. Nice to have a dad that owns a race circuit, eh?
Sold it this week, I think.
Oh, has he sold it?
Yeah.
Has he?
And who's this? Will Buller. This is Will Buller and Felix Rosenqvist for 2nd and 3rd positions. Nose to tail they were. That was past the brand new pit complex, so over the start and finish line and in towards Abbey Corner. Didn't quite get the move done, but Felix Rosenqvist impatient now in 3rd position, wanting to wrestle that position away from Will.
Seeing there Lynn now up to 12th. I think Lynn is on the charge, isn't he? Just looking at the timing screen, his last lap 55.3. Certainly quicker than 3 or 4 cars in front of him.
He's gained 2 spots since I last checked, so Lucas Wolff and Eddie Cheever now have been passed by Alex Lynn. Not too far away from the top 10. He's got 0.2 of a second to find on Dennis van der Laar. The next car
and then Lewis.
There's Rosenqvist around the outside of Will Buller. So he's got the place away from the Irishman, and Raffaele Marciello equally is now starting to make a nuisance of himself in the rearview mirrors of Tom Blomqvist.
And look at the rain on the screen now. This could throw a real spanner in the works.
Here's the restart.
Here's the restart, look.
So, Felix Rosenqvist, judged presumably by Harry Tincknell to be going too slowly there, and he's got impatient. He's just said, right, I'm going to have to take the lead here, because otherwise I'm going to be stopped. And, I mean, there's a chance you're going to have a car in the back of you, isn't there?
I'm just wondering if Rosenqvist did have a
problem.
Yeah. Just couldn't hook a gear or something.
Not evident now. So
no, it's not evident at all. I think it's unlikely, but it's just, you have to have that thought, don't you?
At the moment, just car 7 under investigation.
Yeah, they've all got Hewlin gearboxes, and they're very, they've got paddle shift, and they work very well.
Super reliable.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect that to be the problem. So, they're comparing the times of Blomqvist and Marciello.
Yeah, Marciello not too far away, and in turn, those 2 cars are starting to close in on Will Buller, who is now in 3rd position.
Buller under pressure now, isn't he, from Rosenqvist?
Well, Rosenqvist is actually passed already.
Yeah, he's passed already.
Who's tucked in behind, and Marciello. Then there's a gap back to Josh Hill, who has pulled away a touch from Lucas Auer. Jordan King is 8th, Pipo Derani in 9th, and Lynn now up to 10th position. So Alex Lynn's gained 2 more spots, this time on Michael Lewis, and Dennis van der Laar's tumbled down the order.
He's gone to 14th. He must have had an off while we were watching something else. So much going on in this race.
There is.
Have cameras everywhere.
So
there's the middle of the field on our graphic.
Down to the left-hander at Brooklands, Will Buller, Tom Blomqvist and Marciello snaking their way through Brooklands and up to the right-hander at Luffield, the double right-hander.
Hill just going through our picture.
Using plenty of curbs still, despite the rain that is coming down. As you say, this camera showing raindrops.
Look out of the box to see how it is, seeing if it's opposite us. We've got a big grandstand where they're covered, of course, so can't see if there's any of the telltale brollies going up.
Down to the very fast section at Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel Curve, and Marciello trying to stamp some authority on Tom Blomqvist's lead here for 4th position, but they close up during that snaky bit, and then things string out a little bit down Hanger Straight. I think Marciello will be close enough, though, to utilise a tow from Tom Blomqvist. Is there an opportunity to pass at Stowe Corner down towards the very quick right-hander, and further back Josh Hill coming under pressure from Lucas Auer, who's only now 9/10 of a second, probably less than that, off the back of Josh Hill's rear wing.
Tincknell pushing hard at the front now as we got this battle continuing with Marciello there, the lanky teenager, backed by Ferrari. Second season in this championship, probably the pre-season favourite, but he's up against some very talented youngsters from around the world, and in particular the UK. We've still got the message on the timing screen that 7 is under investigation. Well,
some bloke down in 10th position has just gone faster than anybody. Look at that.
Alex Lynn.
So he's working his way up the order, having started, remember, from 4th position.
Yeah, Durrani is the next one up, and then it's...
Oh, challenge for the lead right round the outside. Whoa. Felix Rosenqvist, that might give him the inside line for Luffield. No, he has to back out of it. Harry Tincknell under some stern pressure as the Swede starts to make a move. He had to go around the outside at Brooklands there. That very nearly gave him the inside line for the right-hander. But there is nothing between Tincknell and Felix Rosenqvist. Harry Tincknell had to deal with this sort of pressure from the orange car in the first lap.
Ducking out, but Tincknell's got it covered through Copse.
That's
a good battle.
Rosenqvist's best opportunity, I think, at the end of the Wellington Straight. He may have to wait for another lap for a challenge. And in the background, Raffaele Marciello all over the back of Tom Blomqvist again. That's
good battle there.
That's giving Will Buller a bit of breathing space in 3rd in the white car. He's pulling away again from Tom Blomqvist in 4th position.
Lynn just done another fastest lap. Lynn's the fastest man out there at the moment.
Yeah, but he's got 2 seconds to find.
Yeah, Rosenqvist just dropped back a little bit, have a little think about it. And then we've got this train of 3 cars battling over 3rd place with Will Buller and the Nissan-engined Dallara. And this team running Tom Blomqvist, they really don't have the same sort of information on these cars as the likes of Prema Powerteam, but they've certainly got this car dialed in nicely. There's Hill going through. Of course, he too following in Dad's footsteps, racing in Formula 3. Remember the old Cellnet days?
So this will be a chance again, I reckon, for Felix Rosenqvist. They're on the Wellington Straight, just taking the left-hander through Aintree. And it's all about getting a good exit speed for the driver of the number 6 car, heading down the straight now. Is there an opportunity at the end of it into Brooklands?
He's trying down to go round the outside. Oh, it's so great. And he's done it. He has done it. Phenomenal. Phenomenal. I'd like to see that in slow-mo. Rosenqvist charging hard. Man who had some wins in this championship towards the end of last year. And the Brit battles back, trying to find another place to go. I'll be interested to see if Rosenqvist does start to pull away.
He was certainly staying with him, so we'll see whether he can actually open up a gap now.
Lynn has just taken a second out of Durrani. And now the orange car in the lead, the new sponsor for this team. Here we are, Johnny, look at this. And, well, Rosenqvist was really rallycrossing it, wasn't it?
He was.
But he got away with that.
2 wheels on the grass, 2 wheels on the dirt, and, well, risk not being able to get the car stopped for Luffield, but brave stuff. And it's side by side here, and that is the number 2 car of Alex Lynn.
Yeah. Lynn moving up into the top 10. And I think Lynn is going to make some more positions up yet here in this FIA Formula 3 Championship race. Rosenqvist in the lead. Tincknell now has dropped back almost a second. Buller 3rd, and it's Blomqvist, Marciello and Auer in a group. There you see them. Hill in 7th place from King and Lynn. 3 Brits running together then. Durrani, Cheever, Lewis. Lynn the fast mover at the moment. Just checking those lap times again, and Lynn on a 54.2. Quicker than anyone else out there. And that battles all down the field, but we're watching at the moment Tom Blomqvist. Spent most of his childhood in New Zealand. There's Will Buller then. Interesting, he's racing for T-Sport. He started racing with T-cars.
It's gone full circle.
Well, yeah.
Very enough.
It was a good little Formula T-cars. Actually brought quite a few youngsters. Stuart Hall, I remember, coming up through T-cars.
I've watched him on some of the short oval raceways around the country as well. He did a bit of stock rod racing. That's the old sort of 1400 Vauxhall Nova stuff.
Good
Teaches
stuff.
you great racecraft.
Yeah.
And then he's applying that now to international motorsport. So pulling away again from this Blomqvist-Marciello battle. And we very nearly have a 5-car train for the lead of the race.
Pulling away, but Will Buller's still having a push. He fancies a second place there, and he's having a go at Tincknell. I just wonder about the situation with Tincknell's tyres. Normally, these Hankooks go through a race without any problem at all, but here at Silverstone, it is abrasive, and they are punishing them. Oh, and he just loses it at the back end, just steps out, and round he goes. Fortunately missed by everybody, and Buller will drop back to about 13th, 14th place maybe.
I was just about to say there's an awful lot of moisture.
Just snap.
Yeah, well, the rear tyre was throwing up a huge rooster tail on the curb there, and the car just swapped ends, but that was more about just getting off the tarmac, I would say, off the asphalt and onto the less grippy curbing and white lines. Is there any rain coming down as well?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Nope. So now the order is Rosenqvist, Tincknell, Marciello, Blomqvist, Auer. Hill is up to 6th, King, Lynn, and Buller is actually shown in 9th place at the moment from Durrani. Warning flags coming out. We talked earlier on, Johnny, in the earlier broadcast about the situation with them not sticking to the track limits and the big... Well, there's that spin. I think he just got on the outside line, didn't little less grip there.
It was through the final corner. He got his rear wheel on the curb, and there's a lot of sitting water there. Because they act as holding areas for inch-thick water, probably. Yeah. But I was just saying that a lot of drivers were exceeding the track limits. They got a big dressing down this morning by the race director for Formula 3, and now 2 warning flags have gone out. One to Gary Thompson, and the other one to Mans Grenhagen. Now, they gave him a bit of leniency in practice. In fact, after they'd done it 7 times, they got a penalty. But I think this time it's going to be different. If they do it again, those 2, they'll have to have a drive-through penalty. And that will ruin their race. This is turning very quickly into the Felix Rosenqvist show, isn't it?
Yeah.
2.1 seconds the lead over Harry Tincknell. Now with Raffaele Marciello in 3rd position, having got past Tom Blomqvist. So it's cars 6, 3 and 1 that are 1st, 2nd and 3rd. We're getting a view of Jordan King on the screen. He's currently 7th, tucked in behind Josh Hill. And Alex Lynn on his tail, 0.4 of a second away. So look out for the number 2 car, that white, red and green machine of the Prema Powerteam, because Jordan King will be looking to maybe break into the top 7 here, down the inside. Not quite. Just going back to that start and that situation, there is a safety car line, and after they pass the safety car line, you may overtake. Okay. In fact, I'm just remembering it now from what they said in that briefing, and Rosenqvist obviously had forgotten. Right. So that's what happened. After they passed that safety car line, it was good to pass. So there won't be any penalty. Just absolutely clarify that situation. Good stuff. I'm glad you picked out that section of the rule book, Andrew. Well, it was mentioned in that briefing I went to this morning, but because in the heat of the moment, just come back. For whatever reason, Felix Rosenqvist had forgotten that, and because you would be gone normally. He was thinking it was going to be right, down the start line. Could be a move being made here for 2nd position. Harry Tincknell and Raffaele Marciello nose to tail. Of course, from Felix's position, he's now leading the race anyway, so maybe nothing to dwell on too much, because he is pulling out a nice little gap here, up to 3 seconds. Harry Tincknell may be suffering with that front right tyre that grained heavily in the earlier race. Alex Lynn is past Jordan King for 7th position. Yeah, so Lynn another is flying, isn't he? Absolutely flying. The number 2 car, how high can he get, I wonder? He may well get into the top 6 yet. Josh Hill, the next car on the list, but only 6 minutes and 45 seconds to try and get to him.
But what about Tincknell? So he got tyres which are, to use an old expression, rooted.
I would suggest so.
And he's got something hanging off the back, might be the safety light. Something is dangling at the back of the car.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Don't think it's going to affect it, but there you see the space Rosenqvist has, which translates into 3.384 of a second now. Big lead for a Formula 3 race. Marciello going to be on the podium again. And what about that man, Alex Lynn? Good battle here, though.
Very much so. Nose to tail. Raffaele Marciello has been shadowing Harry Tincknell's every move, just trying to wait for an opportunity, his best possible opportunity. This might be it.
I think this a bit going down the outside, but no.
Ooh. Now Tincknell's going to have to go wide to try and defend, and will be slow into left field. Can he keep it nice and tight? And the problem is they're all queuing up behind now. Lucas Auer, also part of the Prema Powerteam, are both right behind Harry Tincknell, and it might be a two-pronged attack for the team here. One to the left, one to the right, down towards Copse Corner. This is going to be interesting.
Gain a little bit of water on that lens as they dive down here. It's almost 3 abreast, not quite. Tincknell hanging on. He's a good defender, is Tincknell. Just see that water kick up there when they went over the curb.
All 4 wheels off for Lucas Auer. Let's hope he's not penalised for that.
Drive-through penalty, car 19. That's Greg Hagen. He was one that had been warned earlier. Ruin his race. He's down in 21st place. Remember, he's right up near the front. But Josh Hill doing a good job here.
We very much have a 5-car train now for second position. So it's Tincknell from Marciello, Auer, Blomqvist, Hill, and of course Alex Lynn. This might be playing into his hands, because they're all slowing each other up a little bit here. And Alex Lynn, who is a bit distant in 7th at the moment, may have a chance to close in as Raffaele Marciello has a little bit of a think about a move up the inside at Vale Corner.
Johnny, they don't slipstream like they did quite in the old 1 litre screamer days, where you get a train of about 12 cars all running together, and if you led the last lap you were going to finish 7th. You know, you had to be in the right place. But it's not quite that. Those cars had no aero on them, of course.
Yeah, okay.
And in fact, aero and wings came into Formula 3 in 1970.
Oh, there we go.
Marciello
up the inside then, so he timed that to perfection in the end. That was at the inside of Village Corner. Through the loop they come.
And Marciello. And I think Tincknell might go back another place.
That's Lucas Auer now going to the left side of the circuit. They're going to break here for the left-hander at Brooklands, and right round the outside. Lucas Auer, can he get the move done? He's doing a Felix Blomqvist here on Harry Tincknell, all over the grass again, but just about makes it stick. So up to 4th position.
Look at Blomqvist.
Harry Tincknell here is running the risk of losing an awful lot of places.
Yeah. I would suggest that Tincknell's...
It's a sitting duck, really.
Yeah, he's done his tyres.
Yeah,
the tyres are...
And they're all going to pick him off.
If you can see closely, it'll be the left-hand front and rear. You might even see the graining on it. And once you get that graining, you lose a lot of grip. Look at Hill, though. He's still in that little bunch. But already, Marciello pulling away now.
The problem is for Raffaele that Felix Rosenqvist is 4.5 seconds up the road, and he's only got 3 minutes to catch him. So unfortunately, I think, barring major problems for Rosenqvist, that should be a win for the Swede. Here's the move from Raffaele Marciello. Big lock up there.
Big lock up.
Tincknell heading into the right-hander.
He'll start to feel that through the steering, probably, that flat spot.
Yeah, if his tyres weren't already graining enough, it's now like a 50p piece, that front right corner. So the left-hander at Vale, which then turns into the right-hander to finish the lap at Club Corner. Across the line goes the race leader, Felix Rosenqvist. 4.5 seconds the lead with 2.5 minutes to run. Strange pit boards coming out halfway round a lap. But that's what it is here this weekend. So Lynn, good drive up to 7th place. Buller, after that incident, established in 9th. Goddard having a better race this time in 15th. In fact, the two Aussies running together, Gilbert and Goddard. And now Tom Blomqvist fancies a move maybe on Harry Tincknell. Another lock-up for the man from the Exeter area. Front left this time locking up, and Josh Hill's right with Blomqvist as well. Yeah, and
next time they cross the line. I think we'll be going on to the last lap. 1 minute 40 remaining. Let's see. Yeah, it will be surely.
That's
Look
the
at
old
Hill.
start line, of course, though. So,
Have a look down the inside.
yeah, sneaky look into Copse corner, doesn't quite come off, and now that might mean that Josh Hill's exit speed is compromised, and the man right on his tail is Alex Lynn.
Yeah.
Side by side in the background there, not quite. That would have been a brave move through maggots, but Alex Lynn is very much with Josh Hill, and they're going to finish this lap, and there'll be one more, I reckon, which will make it a 17-lap race. Felix Rosenqvist just out of shots.
Now they've fanned out a little bit, haven't they? The gaps have widened a bit amongst those, except Hill under that pressure. Again, he's able to defend.
So Alex Lynn will have a couple more corners and a few more opportunities to get into the top 6, which will be a great effort considering he fell down to about 15th position on that opening lap from 4th on the grid. Round they come then, and this is the final lap for Felix Rosenqvist, who leads the second race of the weekend, round 5 of the FIA Formula 3 European Championship, by 4.2 seconds from Raffaele Marciello and Lucas Auer in 3rd position. So a good podium this will be for Prema Powerteam. They won't get the win.
No, but yeah, it is a good run, but also a very good run from Rosenqvist.
And it keeps Marciello in the hunt for the championship, of
Rosenqvist,
course.
big win, of course, was a couple of years ago when he won the Zandvoort Masters Formula 3 race. So he's used to victories. Had a funny season last year, wasn't really hot at the beginning, as Blomqvist was just thinking about a move, wasn't he? Blomqvist on Tincknell, wants to try and get by him. Tincknell battling, we are sure, with tyres which will be going in the bin at the end of all this.
Out of Woodcote corner they go. Yellow flags up at Copse corner for an unknown reason at the moment. Alex Lynn is the fastest car out there, incidentally. No surprise there. Even from the midfield, he managed to set a fastest lap time on lap 8, and he may have a chance of getting one more position on Josh Hill. That's the battle we can see in the background there, snaking its way through maggots. And now around Beckett into Chapel.
Yeah, well,
Felix Rosenqvist, a heck of a lead now over Marciello and Lucas Auer, the two Prema Powerteam cars, but they're pairing off in the background. Rosenqvist on King, and here comes Alex Lynn. He's going to go around the outside at Stowe.
Well, that's a brave move.
Might just do it, though, because that's a lot of grip out there. A lot of grip out there, and he's made it stick. Alex Lynn now will have the inside line for Vale corner. Can he keep the car in that position? Up the inside of Josh Hill. I think he's going to do it as Felix Rosenqvist goes across the line.
Yeah.
So Rosenqvist...
Good battle, though.
Has Alex Lynn got through? Yes, he has. Yes. And in the dying stages, Tom Blomqvist nearly got Harry Tincknell.
And Lynn up to 6th place then, just getting Hill in the final run. But Felix Rosenqvist, the 21-year-old from Värnamo in Sweden, 4th in last year's Euro Series. Young man that's been racing for much of his life, and he'll be pleased with that. So here they are then, coming to the podium, and Felix Rosenqvist, first win of the year for the Mücke Motorsport team, and the first win for their new sponsor, who imposed that orange and blue colour scheme on them. It's a German company that go and buy a spoiler for your Volkswagen Golf online, apparently. That's a Berlin company as well.
Oh, to go with Peter Mücke's team.
Yeah, Peter Mücke, long time team runner, also runs a DTM team. Now here's the start, Johnny. Just take us through this, look.
Well, the one thing that drew my attention was the stall in the background of Antonio Giovinazzi. Meantime, it's all kicking off in the foreground as well, because Felix Rosenqvist got the better of the starts from the less grippy side of the circuit.
Yeah, he made a cracking start.
He did. He got in front of Harry Tincknell. And we may well see Alex Lynn here, 3 abreast with one of the T-Sport cars.
Where he went up, I wondered if he hit the back, but now I see it again. I think you're right. It was just off the curb. That
Maybe so.
Up.
Or there might have been a slight clash between wheels, almost like a Formula Ford wheels interlocking.
Yeah.
And that pitched him from one side of the circuit to the other.
And that meant he had an awful lot of work to do. But he had a super drive. This was the aftermath of all that. And then we had the Audi out there. And a safety car period, which
Jan
lasted
Martimer
for...
again, there's the innocent party,
He
because
was
he was
very
just caught up in
unlucky.
it, unfortunately.
Very
There's
unlucky.
the safety car line you mentioned in the background.
Yeah.
So everyone then guns it, apart from the man who was in front, Felix Rosenqvist.
Yeah.
That's Nick Latifi spinning round as well.
Yeah, well, in the end, for Rosenqvist, a silly mistake.
Didn't matter, did it?
It didn't matter, did it?
No, because he won the race by 3.5 seconds.
Yeah, but he might win by a lot more otherwise. Made it better for us, actually.
I think that's a mistake that he probably only made once in his career somehow.
But it's an unusual situation here at Silverstone with the 2 pits and so on.
That's Rosenqvist round the outside.
That was
Harry
a brave
Tincknell,
old move.
which then gives you the inside line at Luffield. But he had to make sure he kept the car there. Brave stuff over the weeds and over the dirt. Lot of lacking of grip there. But he managed to slot the car up the inside. An aggressive manoeuvre, but a fair one, I think. This is Will Buller losing the back end of the car through club. Just got a bit too wide mid-corner, and the rear wheel with no grip at all, with a lot of standing water in the curbs there. And here's Alex Lynn up the inside. This is the last few corners, with at the inside of Josh Hill. Alex Lynn nabbing that place and getting a top 6 finish, with Tom Blomqvist nearly getting past Harry Tincknell at the line. But as far as the points are concerned, Raffaele Marciello scoring well. Yeah,
scoring very well indeed.
Rosenqvist was 6th in the championship coming into that round, so that will bolster his challenge as well.
Yeah, I think he'll probably move up a bit, won't he, to maybe 4th in the championship. Here is confirmation of the result. The second of the 3 Formula 3 races this weekend at Silverstone. The third will be tomorrow morning. Rosenqvist, in the end, winning it by 3.5 seconds from the Italian wonder kid, Raffaele Marciello. Lucas Auer is in 3rd place, and it's also quick. We can't go through it all. Michael Lewis coming home in 11th, but of course we can look on another screen and remind you that Tincknell was 4th, Blomqvist 5th, Lynn, Hill, Durrani, Buller and Cheever rounding out the top 10. And there you see all the way down, including the, so it's DNQ, but I think that should have been DNF. And the fastest lap of the race went to Alex Lynn in his charge back through, as we're seeing some of those incidents again. There's a quick shot of Zeller, the lock-ups. So looking forward to tomorrow's race. Hopefully the weather will stay fine for that.
There's been an awful lot happening in the 2 opening events though this weekend.
I mean, Johnny, you know, last year we raced with 14 cars. I think the season before similar. Great to have, you know, a full field of 28 cars, and then you get lots of action.
That's right, and lots of stories up and down the grid.
Oh, that's what everybody wanted, to climb up onto that top step, but the little blonde Swede, Felix Rosenqvist, will do that. Hopefully they'll be coming in a minute. I think they have to. I think they get out of their cars down at the national pit. Somebody puts them in a minibus and drives them to here, and then, you know, it's going to take a while, isn't it?
Yes, that's true. And they all have to pay their fare.
In fact,
of course.
maybe they'll be on the back of a motorbike. Yeah, we'll have the ticket, won't they? 2 and 9pence. So we'll wait for that. It's not the world's most exciting TV shot, but how many people have dreamed of being there? The bottles will await. Normally in the Formula 3 Championship last year, they didn't spray champagne. They sprayed something called Henkel Trocken.
Right.
Henkel Trocken is a German sparkling white wine. It's not bad actually, but it's not champagne, and it's probably good to spray with. So extra bottle there for the team boss. I don't know who Peter Muller will nominate to take that. We'll see, won't we? I suspect Peter Muller will be up there. Back in the day, he was the 3 times European autocross champion, so he's done a lot of racing, done quite a lot of historic racing recently, the team boss Peter Muller, and based in the Red Bull Ring now, 3 of the old cars from the NASCAR Sprint Cup. Remember, Red Bull sponsored those. They come over and they sit at the Red Bull Ring, and Peter Muller often on DTM weekend will demonstrate those cars. And it's not, you know, you forget the rumble and the roar of a big V8 engine.
Yes.
And, I mean, I think the top NASCAR has got sort of 900 horsepower, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's about it, I think, from Formula 3 racing here at Silverstone. I'm Andrew Marriott with Johnny Palmer. I'll take my leave, and I'm sure Johnny will be continuing with lots more action. What's coming up next, Johnny?
We've got another session for the ELMS, I believe. It's their race, not just a session. It's a 3-hour race.
3 o'clock, isn't it?
That'll be a 3 o'clock start.
Yep.
But we will do the podium presentation for the second Formula 3 European Championship race in just a moment or two. As Andrew mentions, it'll be a slight delay whilst the drivers make their way up from the old paddock to the wing. And a chance for us to show our appreciation for a great show that the F3 boys have put on so far. There will be 4 trophies, 4 bottles of champagne to be presented in just a moment or two, and we look forward with much anticipation to the third and final race of the Formula 3 European Championship tomorrow morning ahead of the WEC race, which will be a 6-hour affair, the 6 hours of Silverstone from midday.
Johnny, thanks very much. Great to work with you.
Absolute pleasure,
See you again
Andrew.
tomorrow.
Yes, indeed.
Cheers.
Look forward to it. Thanks, Andrew.
Stay up to date and interact by following Radio Le Mans on Twitter @Radio Le Mans. For a full archive of podcasts from Radio Show Limited, race coverage, midweek motorsport, car tests, special programs and more, go to www.radiolemans.com. The RadioLeMans.com forum is full of people who love all forms of motorsport, just like you. People who have opinions and aren't afraid to share them, just like you. People who enjoy following live motorsport on radio, online, on TV, just like you. Go to www.radiolemans.com